Bill, when you watch tape of Jameis, how is this Jameis different than Tampa Bay Jameis?
Well, I really wasn't in the league when he was playing, right? So, but I'd seen him. But Jameis he's a good player. I mean, he can really throw the football. He's still got good movement. I think he's fun to watch. He threw a bunch of picks the one year, but he threw a lot of touchdowns too now. First ball game, he threw 5 touchdowns. So, he can throw the football. That's not a problem at all.
How much does it help working against your offense and with Christian to prepare for Kamara and what they do, since you guys are a lot similar in a lot of ways?
No, it does. But still, even when they're going to do something, they're special athletes, are 22 and they're 41, right? So you can be in the right things and still not win because of who they are. They're just special players, both of them. So, they know what we're going to do and we know what they're going to do at times. So, but I think their athleticism can take over at times.
How about Kamara in general? I know you face the best one in the league in practice every week. How does Kamara rank up there?
Well, he's one of the best. I mean, he can really run the football, and he's outstanding in the passing game. There's certain coverages that you don't really want to play because they match him on a backer. Just like we did with Christian last week. We matched him on backers, and it's hard to stop in the passing game. So, they're dual threats, and they can take over the football game. They're going to get and make plays, but they just can't control the game. If they do, you're not going to beat them.
Coach, what do you emphasize this week that you would like to see from this defense to find success against New Orleans?
Well, New Orleans, they operate at a high level as far as execution. If you watch them, very few times does the ball hit the ground. Very few times do they penalize themselves with, where it hurts them. We have got to really execute against them. And then I don't think they get enough credit for how good they are up front. Their offensive line, they run the football and they protect the quarterback. So, it's one of the better offenses in the league and has been for a while. And I think they have one of the best play callers in the league. So, it's a huge challenge for anybody on defense.
Bill, who's your nickel this week, and how did that Hartsfield injury impact you guys already down AJ?
Well, it does. I mean, obviously he's your starting nickel. So, we're going to do it by committee based on calls and stuff. But, that's the National Football League. You just got to deal with injuries. I mean, everybody has them, and so we're dealing with that, and we will.
Who can we expect to see out? I mean, will Burris?
Yeah, we've had the guys you've seen in practice. Burris and Sean Chandler and some different guys will play in there.
Matt said yesterday that Daquan Jones is really good with his gap discipline, staying where he's supposed to be, and that wasn't necessarily an issue last year with some of the guys you had. So what's his impact been like for those linebackers?
Ask me that question again. I'm sorry.
Yesterday, Matt said that Daquan Jones is really good at staying in his gap.
Yeah.
It's helped out the linebackers, especially Shaq Thompson. Just what's that impact been like for those guys?
Well, when the gaps inside are solidified, it really helps the backers. People don't get to them. It's hard to get to them because the old line's trying to stay on the doubles longer, and so that's a great benefit to a linebacker. And then knowing that he's going to be where he's supposed to be, so you can be where you're supposed to be. That's nice to have inside.
Do you expect Corn Elder to play any nickel this Sunday?
Yeah, he possibly could in the ball game too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Having knowledge in him having played last year, how is that beneficial to you?
Well, he knows the system pretty well because he played a lot of football for us last year. So, he could possibly be in there and help us.
Bill, what is it about that nickel position that is or what makes it so much more complicated than just playing outside?
Well, the biggest thing is, so a nickel has to do a lot of different things. He's got to be able to play the run. He's got to be able to blitz. And then he's also got to be able to cover. So you're talking about a special guy that can do all those things. The cover guys out wide, they don't have to run support very often. Now, there's a run that they have and run that we have called duo that makes the corners tackle. But for the most part, they don't have to do that, and they don't blitz very often. And you got to be an effective blitzer as a nickel. So, there's a lot to the nickel position, and in this league, it's actually a starting position. We all laugh because we say our base, but the base doesn't play very often. The nickel plays way more than the base. So it's a starting position in the National Football League like any other position.
What was the breakdown on that last year for you guys? Base versus nickel?
Well, we play a little bit more base than most teams. Certain personnel groups, most teams just go to nickel right away. We don't necessarily do that. We don't play quite as much nickel as some teams.
What do you consider your base?
Well, our base, you got Hassan Reddick at one linebacker, and then you have Shaq and Jermaine. And then once they're out and there's different combinations, now we're in different packages.
Well, we're able to get pressure on Zach Wilson Sunday. What have you perhaps found this year that maybe you didn't have last year?
Well, I think, one, we've added some good pass rushers. So, Burns can really rush on one side. Now we have Hassan on the other side, right? But we have a number of different guys that can play there, though. Haynes has really improved as a rusher. I don't know if you guys have watched him, but he's really improved as a rusher. So we have another edge guy. So we have two edge guys. And then we have guys inside that we added. Morgan, Etor is starting to really come on. So, the combination of all that has helped us with pressure. And then along with, we know the package a little bit better so we can run different blitzes and in different schemes. And I think our disguise is better. So, the combination of everything, I think, has added to more pressure.
How do you feel that J.C. Horn played in his first game?
Good. I mean, he's doesn't get rattled. He got beat at the end of the game, on that third down. And, after the game, I saw him in the parking lot, and he said, "Coach, I'll get one for you next week." I mean, that's just who he is, right? On to the next play. And you got to be that way as a corner. But I enjoy watching him out there. He's going to be really, really good in this league.
Coach Rule said that he would like ideally to have more tape on New Orleans heading into this divisional game. How do you prepare for that offense with a new quarterback and limited tape on them?
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to do some different stuff in the passing game because of who Winston is, right? He's different than Drew. But, I mean, Sean's got his offense too, and it's multiple. A lot of different personnel groups. It changes, like the red zone routes and the third down routes change week to week. So just because Winston's the quarterback doesn't mean that we would know what they were going to do even if we had more tape, because Sean every week is unpredictable, and that's why he's good at what he does. So, we just got to I think there's a staple that he runs, and we're prepared for it. And then anything new, we just have to adjust to as we go.
Without Michael Thomas, which of their receivers sort of has been keeping you up this week?
Well, number 11, he's only 5'6", but he's dynamic now. He can beat you deep, and he's fun to watch. 83, the tight end, is really athletic. They have still some skill guys that can beat you. So, and then Kamara's, they're using him more in the passing game. Not that they didn't, but they can put him anywhere, and he can play like a receiver. He can do whatever he wants. So they're doing a nice job with the people.
What was the impact of Jeremy Chin and back at the safety for this first game?
Good. Jeremy, you got to remember, he's learning as he goes now, because he didn't play much safety last year, right? But he did fine in the ball game. He'll get better every week, and you see different things, and different things happen to you, and you improve. I mean, he's in the building early and leaves late, and he's a worker, so he'll get better every week at that position.
I'm sorry, we saw Shaq do a lot of different, filled up the stat sheet. Was there something about in his game Sunday that you particularly liked?
Well, Shaq had to learn a new system last year, and we asked him to do a lot of different stuff. He plays different positions, and so now he just feels comfortable, and he can use his athleticism, and that's why he was a first-round draft pick coming out, right? He runs well, and I think the size he's added in the offseason has really helped him. And so, we've got to put him in positions to make plays.
He potentially playing faster than last year, even with a little added bulk, just because, like you said, his familiarity with the system?
Yeah, I mean, he is playing faster. And it's just, he's familiarized with everything. He knows what's going on now. And he knows how we think and what we want. And so, you're just going to play faster.
Burns and Reddick said after the game that they think that this defense may be flying under the radar with the talent that's on it. Would you agree with that?
I don't make judgments like that. You're only as good as your last performance. So, I'll make that judgment after 17 games. But we're having fun. Hopefully we keep getting better. We have been over the last year. And if we come to work and do the process, then, we'll get better every week. And then let's just see where it falls. But I like the group.
There was a touchdown. I think the first touchdown by Zach Wilson looked like he was wide open. Do you recall what happened there, the breakdown?
Yeah, we just had a breakdown in coverage, and it happened away from where he wanted to throw. Well, by him getting outside the pocket, he found it. If we don't let him outside the pocket, he probably never finds it. So there was a couple things that went wrong on that play that was not a very good play for us, really, from a coverage standpoint and containing the quarterback. So they ended up throwing a touchdown.
Coach, the Saints have won 8 of the last 9 meetings, I believe, but this is basically a whole new Panthers team. How much is it of an advantage is the youth so that they don't have like that bad blood or that kind of mental hangover?
Yeah, it's interesting because, we have so many young guys. They don't know what you just said, right? 8 out of 9. Now we have some older guys that do know, like Shaq, right? Been in the locker room. So I'm not sure how much they talk about that. I really don't talk about what's happened in the past other than to learn from it. But the win-loss deal I don't talk about. So I've not brought that up to him.
Where have you seen him grow?
Well, he's a really good pass rusher. When I say that, he has really good speed and has the ability to really come around the edge, right? But I think he's really learned how to rush now. And I think Coach Johnson that came on the staff and Frank and Allen, all those guys have done a great job. You can see his hand movement and how he rushes has really improved. He's always had the ability to do it. So I think he's learning who he is and how to beat it, because the people he's rushing are big. He's 240, 45 pounds, right? And he's learning how to use his body to beat those big guys. And so it's fun to watch.
Well, you talked about learning from the past. What do you take from the 2 matchups against these guys last year, particularly Week 17?
Well, my take is they out-executed us. If you look, that's that's the honest truth, right? So, and that's what Sean does, right? His offense is really they execute at a high level. So we have to match that on defense if we're going to play these guys. And then obviously, I think they don't get enough credit up front. They are good up front, and they do a hell of a job of run blocking and protecting the quarterback. So we have to match all that with our front. So, we have our hands full.
Last one, go ahead.
With a coach like Coach Payton, you mentioned how unpredictable he can be essentially in that offense. Where is the challenge but also the opportunity in preparing for a team like this?
Well, anytime that you play one of the best offenses in the league over the last 10 years, it's a challenge, right? And, hopefully, we're preparing that way, and all of us, right, from coaches to players. And so, you brought it up. We obviously lost to them 8 out of the last 9 times we've played, right? So that's a challenge. So, but, it's a new season, new teams. And so we're both preparing, and we'll go out there and play to our best. So we'll see what happens.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks,
Go ahead.
Phil.
You have
Thank
one
you.
more?
One more. What's the benefit or I guess the challenge of playing them so early in the season? Normally, it's kind of the last third of the season, but you're seeing them week 2.
Well, I think one of the disadvantages could be that we haven't seen a lot of their offense yet with Winston. But, the advantage for us may be that he hasn't run their offense a lot either. So, it plays both ways. It really comes down to the players and winning their matchups, each player. And that's really what it comes down to. and hopefully we can execute as well as they do, and it'll be a hell of a football game.